I'm Enzo.
And I'm Reina.
And this is the Date Night Horror Show. Reina.
What's up?
It's the holiday season now.
I can't even believe it. Holiday.
No. For you listeners, you don't know, I'm not a Christmas person.
He's a Scrooge.
No, I think when you get to a certain age and enough people have kind of left your life, Christmas can be really sad. And I remember
melancholy.
I remember when I was a little kid and I would, be singing Christmas carols and stuff. I would always wonder, like, why are these songs so sad? Like, so many of these songs feel really sad.
Very sad.
And then life smacked me in the nutsack, and I understood why that is. You lose people, and then you miss them over the holidays. And I feel like a lot of the Christmas songs that are that way, they're saying, ooh, look at all this good cheer, but it's really the undercurrent is kind of melancholic.
Well, it's because you start to lose your traditions. They start to kind of go away as loved ones pass, and then the kids in the family start to grow up and have families of their own. Yeah,
as generations.
Yeah, so things just start to change, and so.
Yeah, I told Jaina this year, I'm like, I'm going to figure out a way to game the holiday season, because again, I do not enjoy it. And then the materialism, I remember being a little kid, and usually little kids are like, oh, I want all the toys. I got tired of that shit. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, it was too much. I think what I'm going to do to try to game the holidays this time is to find our own kind of fun traditions that suit us a little bit more. Mm-hmm.
You've done a good job so far.
Yeah, we put up a new Christmas tree with the Dia de los Muertos theme.
So cool.
And if you go to TikTok, you can see images of that, videos of that. And what it was is I was like looking at my own perception of the holidays, and I started thinking, really all I do is during this time is think about my Uncle Nicolas who's passed, my brother who's passed, my grandmother, your parents, your grandparents. Yeah. Like, there's this whole subset of people now that meant a lot to me during the holidays that are now gone. Yeah. So now I want to celebrate them like if it was Dia de los Muertos. So
just prolong the Dia de los Muertos, because we do celebrate with the altar. And for us, it was never materialistic. The holidays, they always promoted like these traditions of togetherness.
Your parents were great about that.
And my grandparents. My grandmother loved Christmas Eve. Like, that was her thing. And so my mom took Christmas Day, because in Mexican culture, we really celebrate Nochebuena.
Yeah, Christmas Eve.
Which is Christmas Eve. But since my grandma took it, my mom took Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. And I just miss all of those traditions.
Yeah, that entire generation and the generation before, in our families, they're gone. Yeah. The only one left standing is my mom. Mm-hmm. And, my mom's older now. And my mom, a lot of why I'm the way I am creatively is because of my mom. Yeah. My mom, hyper creative person, would make, Christmas, not just Christmas trees, Christmas villages, and I would help her and stuff. But now, she's much farther in age, so she doesn't have the energy to do any of that anymore. Remembering that and seeing her now, it's kind of sad as well. Yeah. But thank God we still have her with us.
Lucky.
So, we're lucky. That's our last bastion, at least. Yeah. And, we have new kids in my family. My niece's children, they're small now, so hopefully we can start building some
same in my
traditions
family.
there as well.
Some little ones.
Yeah, exactly. So I have plans for that as well.
Should be fun.
It's funny. My brother used to always dress as Santa Claus. Like, that was his thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm way too much of a weirdo to dress like Santa Claus. It's just not. It's too mainstream.
It'd be creepy in a bad way.
Mm-hmm. So I asked my niece Cassandra. I said, "Hey, would Diego freak out if I dress as the Grinch? And she's like, are you kidding me? He loves the Grinch.
Yeah.
He's a horror kid in the making.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, both of his parents are hardcore horror people like us. So this time when we go down to visit, I'm going to dress as the Grinch.
Yep.
And
and I'm going to dress as a Who.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't run off like that one kid in the meme.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I mean, I think if I were him, I would run to the Grinch. You know, I would be like, "Oh my God, it's the Grinch," because I've always loved the Grinch.
Yeah, I think he's going to be happy.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. And yeah, I'm trying to figure out ways of making Christmas feel like it's something I could enjoy. And Krampus has been a big help in the last few years.
Love Krampus.
Yeah, we've dressed as Krampus the last few years. And I'm sad because I thought Season Screaming was going to happen this year, and they're not doing it this year. So I had that in my back pocket. I was like, I'm definitely going to get dressed like Krampus at least once. And I thought it was for Season Screaming.
Yeah.
But no, they're not doing it.
We could just dress if you want.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of other events. Krampus.
Just around the house.
Yeah. Oh, don't tease me, baby.
Hey, man. I'm up for it.
Yeah, that would be fun.
But we did have a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Our tradition, when we got married, we decided that holiday would be ours. And we started out being traditionalists with like the whole turkey thing.
Yes,
but then we both already knew, because we've been together for 1,000 years.
I have turkey trauma.
Yeah, that we don't. Turkey's not our thing. I love like the mashed potatoes and all that kind of stuff, but turkey, like me, it's not that I don't like it, but it's like meh. But
I have actual turkey trauma, and maybe other listeners can relate to this. So my mom was a total perfectionist when it came to meals, and she would do these really big, extravagant meals for not just us, but my uncles would come. And so it was like this big production. And my mom would get super stressed out. And, if things weren't absolutely perfect, she would be bothered by it. And most of the times it was perfect.
Yeah.
But God forbid if something went wrong, unforeseen.
Yeah.
It would be
a disaster.
Just the tension, of it would be really not fun. But I think the reason I'm not a big turkey guy either is I think the whole idea of the turkey is you should make a meal of your idyllic feast. And for, the Pilgrims, it was turkey.
Right.
For me, it's motherfucking sushi.
And I'm with you on that one. So every year for the past, I don't know how many years, several years, if we're here in town, because sometimes we try to take trips as well.
Yeah.
But if we stay home, Enzo makes sushi for us, and it is fucking-licious. He makes really good sushi. He rivals my favorite sushi place.
Thank you, babe.
It's true.
I've always loved sushi, so God, it's been 15 years maybe. I started studying it and really trying to learn it. It's very simple, but it's also very intricate.
Yeah.
Getting the rice correct. I feel like the rice is my last
this
thing.
This last one was really good.
The most recent rice was pretty good. The texture has to be right. The seasoning has to be correct. Just everything about it, moisture, everything. And I think that's why I like sushi so much, because I really love fish. I'm like a cat. I like fishy fish. I like non-fishy fish. Like, I'm just a fucking cat. I love the taste of fish. And with sushi, you can really hone in on that. And I just love making it. I love that it's our tradition.
Yeah. And you always come up with cool rolls. So this year he made a fantastic roll. So if you like spicy and if you like chamoy, he made this crazy roll that has chamoy and salmon, I think. Was it salmon?
Yep.
And
Mango.
And tajins on the top.
Yeah, it was like a spicy sort of Mexican candy mixed with good fresh salmon. Like,
So
yeah,
good.
it was nice, slightly
And
sweet.
I think the chamoy worked because it's sugar-free chamoy that you can get on TikTok. It's called I Love Chamoy. So good because it's sugar-free and it tastes just as good as real chamoy.
Yeah, and their sweetness is a little subtle too, so that really worked well. It wasn't overly sweet.
Right, because I think that would have been kind of weird. But
yeah. And another thing we did over the Thanksgiving holiday is we went with our awesome horror friends, the Spooky Sisters.
I like that, Spooky Sisters.
Alex and Lily. I'm going to make them correspondents. I want them to be
that'd be amazing.
Convention correspondents.
That'd be cool.
Because they're always going. So, and their perspective is really great.
Yeah.
We went with the Spooky Sisters to see Eli Roth's Thanksgiving.
Oh, man.
And that's going to be one of our feature reviews on this episode. But before that, on VOD, we saw Saw 10 or Saw X.
Saw X.
You know, it's funny because I was kind of burnt out on Saw. And I kept hearing in the horror groups, people were saying, yes, Saw X is actually pretty good. And the reviews were great. So I'm like, yeah, let's do this. So when it came out on VOD, I just bought it again. And yeah, I guess we can go into the full review of it.
Yeah.
Cue the music.
And now, our feature review.
Okay, can you do the synopsis for us?
Yeah, of course. So, a sick and desperate John travels to Mexico for a risky and experimental medical procedure in hopes of a miracle cure for his cancer, only to discover the entire operation is a scam to defraud the most vulnerable.
Okay, so I really love movies where they take an established villain
Yeah.
and then they make him the hero.
Yeah. They
And-
totally flipped it.
Which is great. I think every franchise has had stuff like this. And so when I read the synopsis for it, when we were going to, see it, I'm like, oh, I know what kind of movie this is going to be. And it did not disappoint.
No.
Like the setup was really, really great. If you know Jigsaw, he's dying of cancer.
Yeah.
I think this one falls between, in the timeline, it falls between 2 and 3. So if you're watching the Saw movies, you can kind of think about that. And I thought that was really interesting as well. Because in later ones, he's already passed away, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I thought I didn't know anything about it because, as you all know, I don't watch any trailers or read anything about it. And I'm kind of lukewarm about the Saw series. I remember the first one being really good and then kind of not caring for the rest, which I'll talk more about later.
Yeah.
But-
we can talk about that.
Yeah. But so when Enzo said, no, we got to watch this one, everyone's, it's getting such great reviews. It sounds really interesting. I was like, cool, let's watch it. And I thought it was so good from beginning to end. You're captivated, you're invested. It is cool that it kind of turns it on its ear. So it gives a fresh plot twist to everything, which is great, but still has the elements of Jigsaw in there, which are great.
Yeah, and then it's got, the elements of being in Mexico and that different locale. And, I thought they handled that really well. It wasn't the kind of thing where only the Mexicans were the bad people. There were good ones and bad ones.
Well, they're being taken advantage of as well.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was a really nice balance of all those elements. I enjoyed this movie a lot.
I did too.
I think Tobin Bell is
He's
great.
so good.
And, when you watch the Saw movies, he just gets better and better.
Yeah.
And so when you see him in this more recent one, you just realize how good of an actor he is. Like
He's so good.
He's really, really high caliber. He knows he's like a comfortable pair of shoes. He knows this character so well. And because the situation is really effed up, you're kind of rooting for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, you're kind of getting this sick pleasure of seeing him screw over these people that are ultimately vultures.
Yeah.
Preying on the most vulnerable people.
Which
people
is
are dealing with
disgusting.
cancer. Yeah. And this shit exists.
Oh, yeah.
This is real. In this movie, it's more, an evil surgeon sort of scenario.
Right.
But there are a lot of other situations in the real world where, you have like holistic healing kind of stuff that is not based on any real science, and people are just making money off people
Because they're so
who are
desperate.
dying. Yeah.
They're so desperate to get better and beat it.
Yeah, it's so great. And here's the thing. Okay, Saw, when it first came out, it ushered in an era of films called torture porn. But really, I call it mastermind horror, because it's not just about the torture stuff. Jigsaw is a complete and total genius. So he's always 3 steps ahead of everyone else. And in this movie, you definitely see that.
Yeah.
And you remember why you like these movies. And they're not just torture porn.
Right. I think what I like about it is that the whole thing, which he always says, is I didn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
Which is true.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of.
Yes.
Because he doesn't actually,
Yeah.
kill them, I guess.
Right.
But, because of the puzzles that he presents to them, So I think that's a really interesting aspect of Jigsaw, that he makes these inventions and these puzzles that people have to make these life choices.
Yeah, and in many ways, this is his film. I think he takes center stage in it, and then you get to really understand his moral compass a lot more in this film. And he's not just good or evil. There's a complexity to him, and I thought they handled that incredibly well. He still makes people go through super fucked up shit. So that's
The horror's still there.
That's what I loved about it too, is like, you're going, oh, okay, this is a, kinder, gentler Jigs. Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah. Or you almost think, oh, shit, the tables have turned. He's the one who's going to get, all the torturous things happen. No.
No. Yeah. I enjoyed this movie a lot. I'm glad I bought it. In fact, after we saw it, Reina and I decided to start watching the Saw films in sequential order. And we're at 4 now. And they're all so good.
I know. I don't know what we were thinking. I don't know what happened. Maybe we had a bad night or something when we watched one of them. I don't know.
No, I know what it is. So, when something comes out and then it's influenced other things, though you may not necessarily like those other things, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, take music, for example. Radiohead gets signed, which I absolutely love, which leads to other bands that sound like Radiohead but aren't really Radiohead, and they're not necessarily good. So I think with Jigsaw and Saw, it ushered in the torture porn era, which I did not like. Because some of it was just cruel. That's it. That's nothing else. When you watch the Saw movies, they're mastermind horror. The Collector is mastermind horror too. Yeah. There's brutality there, but what really is scary is how smart Jigsaw is. How 3-4 steps ahead of everyone else he is.
Yeah.
That's what's terrifying.
Even when he's caught.
Yeah. That's what's terrifying. And so it made me realize that the Jigsaw movies aren't torture porn. And I think that's why I stayed away from the later ones. Because I assumed it. They're mastermind horror still. At least we're at 4, and so far they're great.
Yeah, so far. I think what's cool too is being able to see them in order and, sooner than later. Do you know what I mean? So we don't have to wait 2 years for another one to come out.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool that we're able to one night watch the first one, and then maybe the second night, next night watch the second one, and, it being fresh, that we can go all the way up to 5 right now. So I don't know, maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But yeah, I've been enjoying our little Saw adventure.
Yeah, no, I loved it. And I think Shawnee Smith is really good in it too.
Yeah, she's great.
I love her in The Blob.
I love that movie.
She's so great in The Blob.
Yeah.
And then to see her evolution, I mean, Shawnee Smith has played this role for a while now, like, over 10 years.
Yeah.
And so far, every performance she's done, including Saw X, has been riveting and interesting. And it adds a dynamic to Jigsaw that I really, really like.
Yeah.
The mentorship of it. I think they're both really great in this.
Yeah, I agree. I really like her. She's been there since the first one.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see her and her bad haircuts. I'm just kidding. Throughout the Saw films. No, I thought she was really good in this one as well. I was glad to see her in them.
The funny wigs that they put her in are great.
I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah. So I think what we'll do is we'll review Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And then we'll go into the spoiler zone for both of these films.
Sounds good.
Cool. Okay, do you want to read the synopsis for Eli Roth's Thanksgiving?
Yes. So after a Black Friday riot ends in tragedy, a mysterious Thanksgiving-inspired killer terrorizes Plymouth, Massachusetts, the birthplace of the infamous holiday.
Yes.
This was such a fun movie.
Very, very fun. When it starts, they were doing this whole thing. That's really kind of the sub-theme of Black Friday and the obnoxious consumerism and all that
greediness.
Stuff. Yeah, that part was a little on the campy side, but I understand why they were doing it that way. So I wasn't quite sure how much I would enjoy the film when we were in the theater, watching that part. But then the film ratcheted things up, and I thought it was really fun.
I thought during the riot part of it, they had some good kills.
Yeah, they were a little silly for my taste, but
really, I thought they were good.
But it pulled itself up, I think. That whole Black Friday consumerism thing, I just don't understand it.
And people do get that crazy.
I know. It makes me want to take a shower. Like it's just gross. Even though we got a really good deal on a 4K projector.
Oh my God, stop it.
But that was Cyber Monday. And we did not go anywhere.
We never do Black Friday because that's craziness.
It's ridiculous.
I would never do that.
It's stupid too. It's like a sporting event. It has that kind of energy.
Yeah, definitely. But I thought they captured the energy of it very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The desperateness, the greediness.
Yeah.
From all sides, not only from the consumer side, but from the owner of the store side.
Yeah. So then when the whole Black Friday event happens, the movie continues. It's a year later. It's this big cloud that hangs over.
The stain.
Yeah. And then, people start to get killed by the mascot of this pilgrim that they're handing masks out for at the local diner. It's a very interesting setup. The mask sort of reminds me of the Guy Fawkes character in V for Vendetta, which I really love. And they do some very clever things with the mask. So it sort of has a Scream quality to it because you don't know who's behind the mask. Could there be more than one killer? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then the kills are great, very inspired.
So good.
And then there's all this social media involved with the film. He's live streaming as he kills people, that sort of thing. And so it's really fresh and new and feels like now. I really enjoyed this film.
It was so much fun, and it had such great actors. It had Gina Gershon, which was really cool, and of course Patrick Dempsey. Hello, 80s.
Yeah.
I love that he was in this.
Most people know him as a McDreamy.
But I'm an 80s
than
oldie.
Patrick Dempsey. That's amazing. I don't know what vitamins that dude took. Because
For real.
In the 80s, he was like this gawky kid. And then now he's like this
McDreamy.
big heartthrob. But he's great in the film.
He's really good.
Yeah. And all the, secondary characters are great. The teenagers are cool too. Like they're a little obnoxious, but not too obnoxious. It just felt like a big slice of Americana.
Yeah. That's a good point, though, with the kids, because sometimes we've talked about this before. You know, you don't like any of them.
Yeah.
And these kids were just your typical, you know, teenagers.
Yeah, they were all right. At first, I thought, oh, are they going to write them all? Like I swear, when they do that, every sentence that comes out of a character will be obnoxious. And then it just feels wooden and lame. This did not have that problem.
No, it didn't. It really didn't. But it was such a fun movie. And I wasn't sure, because how do you make Thanksgiving scary? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because we've watched others. Yeah, they totally did it. Because we've watched other Thanksgiving horror-themed ones, and terrible.
Yeah.
So we weren't even sure what to expect. But of course, Eli Roth, we had all the...
Eli Roth, yeah.
Yeah, we had all the feels with him.
Yeah.
And it did not disappoint at all. It was so much fun. It was so fun to watch it during Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll buy it so it'll be a tradition.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be one of those that people watch on Thanksgiving.
For sure. And I hope there's another one. I hope there's a sequel.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so I guess we can go into the spoiler zone and talk about Saw X first, and then talk about Thanksgiving.
Sounds good.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go.
Beware. Spoilers ahead. Rebecca, I want to play a game.
Yikes.
You would never. Jigsaw would never get you, because he'd be like, so you save people's lives by helping them. Like, you don't do anything bad. Yeah, you're like a good person. So he'd be like,
well, thank you.
Oh, shit, I'm confused. I don't know what to... Here, just have some money.
Maybe I drink too much wine. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
No.
That's minor compared to the assholes that he has to kill in this film.
No, I know. But it was so good. I was so happily surprised, because I really came into watching it not knowing what to expect.
Yeah. So listeners, if you're here in the spoiler zone, that means you've seen these movies, and we're going to talk more in depth, and we're going to include spoilers. So
yeah.
Okay, I have a lot I want to say. So I think this movie, it really is a re-examination of Jigsaw, like his character, because you really see the depths of his moral compass. Yeah. So he's a very good man. And like, there's a part of him that's a very good man.
Yeah,
the way he treats the young boy, the way he helps him with the bike, the way he puts himself on the line, would never conceive of hurting the child because the child is innocent.
Yeah.
So he's that, right?
Right.
And then...
like Hannibal.
And then the way he wants to completely destroy the grifter surgeon and her entire crew in the most brutal possible way. Yeah. So it's like, I love when a character is not binary. You know, there are hemispheres to this character, and then the absolute intellect, you know, mixed with, you know, what he's going through with the cancer. And then how thoroughly disgusted he is. And it's so funny too, because like at the end of the movie, when the two people, they think they're, you know, way ahead of him, and they're frolicking along to go get the... I'm like, you know, he's gonna fucking rig the money.
Oh,
he's rigging the money.
Totally.
So of course they go up there all happy, and I'm like, oh, you guys are idiots.
Yeah.
I loved that ending. I thought that was so great.
Good. Well, I thought it was really good. I love that it was set in Mexico, obviously. I thought that was pretty cool. I love that there was a woman that was the evil character. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. And she was an asshole.
She was a total asshole. Not that I want women to be portrayed as assholes, but, you know, it's always usually very male dominated.
Yeah, no, I love a female villain.
Yeah, so it's cool that it was a female villain. I at first I was like, how is he being duped by the... Well, you're not even sure he's being duped, but, you know, as the story progresses, you're like, how is he duped by this guy saying, you should go get this treatment in Mexico? But I guess when you're desperate and you're dying, you know, you'll do what you can to survive. So I love that he called Shawnee Smith to come in for the assist.
Yeah, that's so good.
Because I wasn't sure she was going to be in it. Because, again, I don't read anything, so I wasn't sure. So I was really happy when she showed up.
Yeah, it's interesting because I had a coworker, a good friend of mine. He passed away from cancer. And I remember in his last few months, he went to Germany and had some experimental treatments done to try to survive, because they had told him, hey, this is it. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
So I've seen firsthand people in those situations, where
I would have done it for my dad in a heartbeat.
Yeah. So it's like, we've had loss in our family due to cancer as well. So, when they set it up, and I'm like, oh my God, these people are absolute garbage. Jigsaw, do your fucking worst.
You root for him.
Absolutely.
You totally root for him, and he does not disappoint.
Yeah, and then they mock him too. They think they're smarter than him. She's like, oh, you're doing the creepy voice. And it's like, oh man, you guys are so
You have no
screwed.
idea. No idea how it's going to rip you apart.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie a lot. A lot. And
His puzzles are always really cool too.
Yeah, and what I noticed too is it's the kind of film where if no one has ever seen a Saw movie, I might show them this one. I might show them this one. The first one is great, and we recently saw it. But what's cool about this one is you really get to see who Jigsaw is. Whereas in the first film, the best thing about Jigsaw is the surprise.
Yeah.
Right?
But I might show people the first one and then skip to this one.
Yeah, sure. That's exactly. That's good too. One thing that I would say that I was kind of disappointed with is that they didn't use Billy the Puppet enough.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that. He doesn't make an appearance as frequently. Yeah, in this one. That's true.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed by that.
Because he's a cool puppet on that tricycle.
I loved it. But some of the kills are brutal.
Yeah, what was your favorite kill?
Absolutely brutal. I think the girl that has to slice off her leg.
Oh my God.
The way that sequence ends is completely gnarly and brutal.
Yeah.
Like that takes the movie to a 12 as far as intensity level 100%. Goes. And then when they just leave the body there, the remains are there throughout most of the film.
Yeah.
That was pretty gnarly.
I'll have to say that's my favorite one too.
Yeah, that was gnarly.
Because imagine you have to cut off your own limb.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, it was so terrible.
What about you? Awesome. What was your?
I was actually the same one. I love that one because it's just so horrific. The thought of you having to do that.
Oh, and the decapitation at the end is gnarly, dude.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Remember, and that's another thing too. Is a lot of them, they don't make it. They panic. They don't make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I would stop to do the limb one only because you're doing it to yourself. So in other words, it's not like a timer goes off and your head falls off or whatever.
Yeah.
You're actually like sawing through your limb.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Thinking you're going to survive and then you don't.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Okay. Do you want to talk about Thanksgiving now?
Yes.
All right, cool.
This movie was so much fun, and I think we agree on the best part of the film, which is when he bakes the stepmother
when he
as
bakes
the turkey.
Stepmother,
oh my God.
That was so intense.
Oh my gosh. The way he like butters her with herbs and he puts the rosemary between her toes. Oh my God.
And you know what? That scene could easily be really cheesy.
Oh, 100%.
And he did it in a way where the brutality is front and center. It's got the not cuteness, but the charm or the novelty of what he's doing.
Right.
But it's still really brutal. Like it's really brutal. And then the fact that he feeds her to the husband. Like that's
well,
really
and then you
nasty.
think she gets away, right? So then you think, oh, okay, well she got away, but then he ends up cooking her anyway.
That I liked a lot too. It wasn't so one dimensional. You know, the chase there was, maybe you did get away. Oh no, you didn't. You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then the killer's plans didn't go unfoiled at times as well.
Right.
I love that. I loved when he put his mask on the oven and it started to melt.
Oh, I know. That looks so cool.
Yeah, it was just a really incidental thing, and it just made it that much more creepy. And then keeping track of who was the killer was interesting.
I was going to say, I liked that because, and you know, again, I think for me, I never set out, I'm never one of those watchers that set out to be like, oh my God, I need to find out who it is. I need to figure it out right now.
Yeah,
I just let myself enjoy it and experience it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I wasn't sure who was the killer, to be honest.
Let me talk about that a little bit more. Okay. I think that's the mindset of a horror fan. I think horror fans allow themselves to take in the scare, right? Sometimes I'll recommend a movie to someone, and then they'll come back and they're like, oh, I didn't like it because of this logic thing, this logic. Like I'm like, yeah, but did you see this other thing? And you know, like,
yeah,
it's like you allow yourself to take in the horror, similar to a magic trick. So
yeah, that's a very good analogy.
Yeah. So I've studied magic. I know a lot about it. I know how things are done. But when I watch a magic trick, I just experience the performance. And then maybe afterwards I put on my thinking. But while I'm watching it, I try to
enjoy it.
Try to look at it with child's eyes.
Right.
Similar to horror, you know, you just take it in and kind of let yourself experience the shock of it, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's funny because a lot of times people are like, but you watch true crime too. I'm like, true crime, I'll turn away. Like true crime, I want to try to figure out who's doing it and also turn away. And people will be like, why are you turning away at that when you watch these crazy, you're like this slasher 14 loving person.
Yeah, but
it's just different because it's not real life. And so you're right. I just want to really just enjoy it. Same with going to theme parks. I know there's people in costumes.
Absolutely.
But I really get off on the adrenaline rush of feeling that, of being scared.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to allow yourself to be in that headspace to truly enjoy it.
And Thanksgiving has all of that. I think it's just...
Yeah.
I just completely enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect. Really fun holiday movie. I'd watch it even if it wasn't Thanksgiving, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was a lot of fun. There was even like nods to classic horror, you know, like 70s horror while also being modern. So for example, the scene where the cheerleader is on the trampoline and she takes off her panties. I feel that's Eli Roth's nod to the sexiness of like 80s and 70s horror.
Yeah.
Without the male gaze aspect of it. You know, and I thought that was tastefully done. Done in an interesting way. The kill of it was really gnarly. So there were some really clever ideas in this. I mean, you can't go wrong with Eli Roth. I think he's really good at doing things with young people. You know, his previous films, I feel like he remembers what it's like to be a younger person. So, you know, the kind of the exuberance of young people, and he puts that on screen, and then, you know, it slams head on into, you know, these horrible, tragic horror characters, horror scenarios. It's great. Like, he's great.
Yeah, so much fun. So if you haven't watched it, who cares that it's not Thanksgiving? Go watch it. Or when it comes on VOD, make sure you watch it.
Yeah. Well, I think we're pretty much done with this episode, babe. Is there anything else you want to bring up?
I just want to wish everyone a happy holiday season. I know for us, we go home to see our family, which I'm really excited about, even though, yes, it can be a little sad. But it's always great to be with family.
Absolutely.
And luckily, we're from the same hometown.
Yeah.
So we're able to be with all of our family.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to some of the stuff we do that are on the horror side of the holidays. So, and there's a lot of good holiday horror films out there right now. So, yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yep. So I can't wait for some Krampus.
Yeah,
fun,
absolutely.
And whatever else holiday horror movies we can find.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're done, babe.
Scare you later.
The Date Night Horror Show is written and produced by Enzo and Reina. DateNightHorrorShow.com.